Hello scholars, Miss Molly here. I'm in your edible schoolyard kitchen and we miss having you in your kitchen class. Today we're going to focus on a specific fruit. This fruit, it's actually a piece of paper, is native to Central and South America. It is from a cacao tree. So this is called a cacao pod. If you cracked this cacao pod open, you would find cacao beans. Some of you might recognize the word cacao and know that it's how we make our chocolate. Chocolate has changed a lot over time, and so I wanted to dive deep kind of in the history and the health benefits of raw cacao. So it's thought that in about 1500 BC, the Mesoamerican civilizations discovered chocolate and started using it predominantly as a drink. They would grind the dried cacao bean, which, just quick clarification, cacao versus cocoa. Cacao is just the bean in its natural form. Cocoa is once the bean has been dried. Mayans would drink this cacao powder with water and honey and chili powder and use during celebrations or transactions. Cacao beans served a lot of different purposes. Aztecs would even use it as currency because they considered it more valuable than gold, which in my mind just tells me something about the qualities of cacao beans and how beneficial they are for our bodies. Raw cacao beans are still known as a superfood today, just as they were considered as something that would give you a lot of power by leaders back in 1500 BC even. They're jam-packed with magnesium and potassium, antioxidants, but unfortunately the way that we consume these cacao beans has changed. The chocolate mania began to spread to Europe, and they would create kind of their own form of a hot chocolate, adding other local ingredients such as cinnamon or cane sugar. Chocolate arrived in Florida on a Spanish ship in about the 1600s, and the mania just began to spread even further to the United States. In about 1800 was when some Dutch chemists began playing around with chocolate and wanted to create something that was more of a melt in your mouth sensation. So they added things like alkaline salts that would create that sensation and kind of change the way we eat and consume chocolate. In 1847, a British chocolatier actually created the very first chocolate bar that was molded from a paste made of sugar, chocolate liquor, and cocoa butter. So kind of becoming less and less of a bitter chocolate drink that was originally enjoyed by Mesoamericans. Dried milk powder came into the scene from the Nestle company, which most of you have probably heard of, in the late 1800s. So this just created even more of a melt in your mouth texture for consumers, for even more added ingredients and less raw cacao. By the late 1800s, companies like Mars, Cadbury, Nestle, Hershey were all trying to keep up with the amount of consumption of chocolate. So this is when you see a lot of larger production facilities and larger machinery to meet the goals of this growing demand in chocolate that people were consuming. Now, don't get me wrong, I love Snickers and Kit Kat and Twix, like we all do, and I eat that from time to time, but there is a way for us still to have a yummy treat that has chocolate in it and still get more of the health benefits that raw cacao provides. This is a chocolate bar, and it's extra dark, which if you see dark chocolate or even extra dark chocolate on a wrapper, that's going to mean that there is more raw cacao or roasted cacao, like this cocoa powder that's ground up and used in the chocolate. There's less and less chocolatiers that actually make chocolate from hand anymore and don't add a lot of different ingredients, but there definitely are some that you can find that are fair trade and still provide you with up to, as you can see on this one provides 70% cacao. So that's pretty darn good, and will still give you a lot of the nutrients that cacao offers.